Madam President, I, along with others, had the opportunity to say goodbye to Madeleine Albright this morning. Truly remarkable life. First woman Secretary of State, remarkable diplomat, and a friend. We had an opportunity to bond over an issue I'm about to discuss, the people of Burma and the plight that they've had to endure over the years. And regretfully, as her life came to an end, things did not go in the right direction in Burma, at least not yet. And I know she would not have given up hope, nor have I. With regard to the current situation in Burma, Aung San Suu Kyi was handed yet another outrageous sham sentence by the military junta in Burma. For the past year, the leader of Burma's democracy movement and thousands of her fellow citizens have been detained while the Tatmadaw, which is the army, drags their country violently backward. The generals responsible for last year's coup have met a groundswell of popular protest with brutality. As Burma's diverse ethnic minorities have found historic unity in the cause of democracy, the junta has stoked violence and division. The Tatmadaw is holding countless citizens of Burma in prolonged detention, along with foreign nationals like the Australian economist Sean Turnell. Its political prisoners reportedly include dozens of children under the age of 15. And its baseless prosecution of Suu Kyi illustrates how long the road ahead is for Burma's democracy advocates. The military's latest ruling against my friend is just one in an absurd list that could carry a total sentence of up to 190 years. With every passing day, the junta's ruling generals are showing the world exactly what they're afraid of. They fear the people of Burma, their unity, their resolve, and their devotion to a democratic future. So I've been proud to stand with Burma's democracy movement throughout my career. I've been paying close attention to their plight this past year, and I'm looking forward to hearing soon from the Biden administration about their efforts to help. What sanctions will the administration apply to ratchet up the pressure? What additional support will they try to provide to the true representatives of the people of Burma? What will they do to ensure a restoration of democracy in Burma is a top priority for the upcoming ASEAN summit? The leaders and supporters of this brutal coup must be held accountable. Now, in another matter, last week in my hometown of Louisville, I sat down with law enforcement officials and local leaders to discuss our skyrocketing rate of violent crime. The participants came from a wide variety of backgrounds, but everybody agreed the murders, shootings, robberies, carjackings, and overdoses are simply out of control. Louisville recorded 188 homicides in 2021, an all-time record. 24 of the victims were children. Just recently, an anti-gun, anti-police activist made national headlines when he tried to assassinate a Jewish Democratic Louisville mayoral candidate. Jefferson County saw more than 500 drug overdose deaths last year, hundreds more than in years before the pandemic. These problems are literally overwhelming the city's coroners. One expert I met with said the violent crime has stolen more years of potential life from Louisville than the pandemic. Carjackings are up over 200% in the last 2 years. We now average more than one carjacking every 48 hours. The folks on the ground say they're also seeing non-fatal shootings and gang activity increasing. This crime spree is coming from a tiny minority of Louisville residents. 0.5% of the population manages to commit an outright majority of all the city's violent crime. That is possible in large part because many are let out back on the street within days of their arrest. Of course, this isn't just a Louisville problem. We've seen violent crime soar nationwide since the far left's national anti-police and anti-law enforcement campaign that began back in 2020. Cities everywhere are under siege. Here in Washington, in broad daylight just yesterday, there was literally an armed robbery right outside the headquarters of the FBI. Polls show 69% of Louisville residents oppose the defund the police movement, and 66% want more police in their neighborhoods. But many Democrats are still unwilling to openly call for law and order in our streets. As a result, police officials say their officers feel under siege. They're worried politicians will not have their back. Another huge factor is President Biden's failure to secure our borders. I was told at last week's roundtable that every bit of deadly heroin and fentanyl on our city streets now comes across our southern border. As long as this administration neglects to enforce our laws, every state becomes a border state. We need to secure the border and stop narcotics flooding our neighborhoods. We need officials at all levels to back the blue, crack down on crime, and reestablish law and order. But the Biden administration gives us just the opposite. They nominated and confirmed a Supreme Court justice who argued that COVID justified early release for every single prisoner in Washington, D.C. Just yesterday, the president issued a giant catalog of pardons and commutations, cutting sentences after sentence after sentence, particularly for convicted drug criminals. They never miss an opportunity to send the wrong signal. And until federal, state, and local Democrats get with the program, innocent people in Louisville and across the country will continue to suffer. Now, one final matter. The institution of the United States Congress relies on a whole army of diligent and dedicated people who work tirelessly behind the scenes. Today, it's my pleasure to turn the spotlight on one such public servant who is retiring after a sterling career. David Hawk's time on Capitol Hill started here on the Senate side more than 30 years ago. He served as an elevator operator while he finished graduate school. Dave thrived and impressed everybody. Before long, he was named the founding director of the Office of Congressional Accessibility Services. This is a small team whose work often goes unheralded, but goes right to the heart of our duties to the American people. The OCAS ensures that Capitol Complex is an accessible, welcoming place for everyone, including Americans with different abilities or disabilities. Obviously, there's a physical component to this. Dave's worked with the architects to honor our historic buildings, while at the same time making them accessible. Ramps, elevators, wheelchair options, the new lift here on the Senate floor. Dave's tackled everything from big infrastructure questions to the smallest details. Before any big event like a joint address or inauguration, or just on a normal workday, you could run into Dave walking rounds across the entire campus, searching for obstacles that less keen eyes might have missed. But physical accessibility is just one part of what Dave and his team do. The OCAS also provides crucial services. They supply American Sign Language interpreters for our meetings. They translate letters into Braille. They'll consult with offices to ensure an intern or staffer has the tools that they need. It's a vital team, and for decades, their quarterback has been famous for his cheerfulness and humor, his dedication, and the 1,000 ways he's gone above and beyond the call of duty. Dave has spent decades in the business of unlocking opportunities. The opportunity to visit here, to meet with your senator or your congressman, to take a job here. His excellence and dedication have unlocked door after door after door. Dave, the Senate congratulates you on your well-earned retirement. Thank you for your devoted work to keep our government by the people and for the people.